Imagine a man who stands unshaken amidst the storm, whose worth is not dictated by praise nor diminished by criticism. This is the man of iron-clad self-esteem, forged not by external validation, but by his own discipline, wisdom, and virtue. Today, I will share 6 Stoic principles to help you build an unbreakable self-esteem, one that stands firm, no matter the chaos around you. A person who seeks unshakable self-esteem must first understand a fundamental truth. The only things within your control are your thoughts, actions, and character. Everything else, people's opinions, external circumstances, the roll of fate's dice, is beyond your reach. To allow your sense of worth to be dictated by that which you cannot control is to build your foundation on sand, vulnerable to every shift in the wind. Imagine a man insulted in the marketplace. He has 2 choices: to be angered, wounded by words beyond his control, or to remain indifferent, knowing that another's words hold no power unless he grants them permission. The Stoics teach that external events are neutral. It is our interpretation that gives them weight. If you are offended, it is because you have chosen to be. If you feel inadequate because of another's success, it is because you have placed your sense of worth in comparison rather than in your own efforts. Recognizing this truth is the first step toward liberation. The modern world is filled with distractions, judgments, and illusions of importance. Social media parades curated lies before you, tempting you to measure yourself against a false standard. But what good comes from worrying about how others perceive you? If their praise lifts you, their criticism will crush you. To base self-esteem on external validation is to put your happiness in the hands of those who do not walk your path, who do not share your struggles, who have no real authority over your life. Instead, turn inward. Measure yourself not by their expectations but by your own principles. Did you act with wisdom today? Were you disciplined? Did you uphold your values? If so, no opinion can diminish you. There will always be chaos in life, unfair outcomes, unforeseen setbacks, moments when the world seems indifferent to your efforts. The weak bemoan these hardships, blaming fate, society, or luck. The Stoic, however, does not waste energy on what cannot be changed. If the storm comes, he does not curse the sky. He prepares his shelter or learns to dance in the rain. If an opportunity is lost, he does not dwell in regret. He seeks the next course of action. Strength is not found in controlling the uncontrollable, but in mastering one's response to it. Consider a warrior on the battlefield. He does not control the number of enemies before him, the direction of the wind, or the sharpness of the enemy's blade. What he does control is his stance, his discipline, his resolve. This is all that matters. The same applies to life. If you chase control over the external, you will exhaust yourself in endless frustration. But if you master yourself, no hardship will break you. This is not a call to passivity or indifference. It is not an excuse to surrender to fate without effort. On the contrary, it is an invitation to focus your energy where it truly matters. Why waste time worrying about how others perceive you when you could be building skills, sharpening your mind, and strengthening your character? Why despair over obstacles when you could be learning to overcome them? Every moment spent fixating on what is beyond your influence is a moment stolen from what you can change. Your self-esteem must be built on an unshakable foundation, one that does not rise and fall with the tides of fortune. The man who understands this principle walks with a quiet confidence, unbothered by gossip, unshaken by failure, undistracted by the trivial. He does not seek approval, he seeks virtue. He does not chase recognition, he pursues excellence. And in doing so, he finds the only validation that matters, the knowledge that he has mastered himself. To control what you can and ignore what you cannot is to free yourself from the chains of unnecessary suffering. It is to take ownership of your mind, your actions, and your destiny. The rest is nothing to you. The desire to compare oneself to others is a natural impulse, but it is also a dangerous one. It is a path that leads only to dissatisfaction, insecurity, and a fragile sense of self-worth. The Stoics understood that ego and comparison are illusions, traps set by the mind that prevent us from focusing on what truly matters, our own progress and virtue. To free yourself from these illusions, you must detach from the need for external validation and turn your attention inward. Imagine a man who constantly measures his success by the achievements of those around him. If his neighbor buys a larger house, he feels inadequate. If his colleague receives praise, he feels unseen. If a friend accomplishes something great, he feels as though he has failed. This is the curse of comparison. It shifts the measure of self-worth from internal growth to external competition, making happiness dependent on forces beyond one's control. But what is the logic in this? Why should another's path dictate the value of your own? Ego is the architect of this illusion. It whispers that you must be superior to others to have worth, that recognition is proof of your value, that status defines success. But this is a fragile foundation, for no matter how much praise you receive, it will never be enough. The moment you rely on external validation, you hand over control of your self-esteem to the opinions of others. One insult can destroy you. One failure can shake your confidence. True strength comes not from being admired, but from knowing, deep within, that admiration is irrelevant. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that envy and pride are signs of a weak mind, one that has not yet understood the nature of true worth. The wise man does not concern himself with the affairs of others. He does not ask whether he is better or worse than another, but only whether he is better than he was yesterday. Progress, not superiority, is the only worthy goal. Consider a craftsman at his workbench. He does not compare his progress to that of another. He focuses only on improving his own craft. Each day he refines his skills, not to outshine a rival, but to master his art. Life is no different. Your purpose is not to be better than someone else. It is to become the best version of yourself. To detach from comparison is to embrace true freedom. It is to walk your own path without concern for the paths of others. It is to recognize that external success is fleeting, but inner virtue endures. The man who understands this does not chase status or recognition. He does not feel threatened by another's greatness. He does not seek validation from the world. Instead, he stands firm, content in the knowledge that his worth is determined only by his own actions, his own discipline, and his own unwavering commitment to growth. To love your fate is to embrace life exactly as it is, without complaint, resistance, or regret. It is to see every event, whether joyful or painful, not as an obstacle but as a necessary part of your journey. The Stoics did not merely teach acceptance of fate. They went further, urging us to love it, to see it as a gift rather than a burden. This mindset transforms hardship into wisdom, suffering into strength, and uncertainty into opportunity. Imagine a man who curses his misfortunes, who resents the difficulties life places before him. He fights against reality, wishing things were different, longing for an easier path. But this resistance only deepens his suffering. He is at war with something he cannot change. Now, imagine another man who welcomes all that happens, who does not resist fate but embraces it fully. When difficulties arise, he does not complain, he adapts. When failures occur, he does not despair, he learns. This man is unbreakable, not because he avoids hardship, but because he accepts it as a necessary part of life's design. Amor Fati is the ultimate act of surrender, but not in the sense of giving up. It is not about passivity or accepting defeat. Rather, it is the surrender of resistance, of wasted energy spent wishing for a reality that does not exist. It is the understanding that every event, no matter how difficult, serves a purpose in shaping us into who we are meant to become. A fire does not shrink from the wood thrown into it, it consumes it and grows stronger. The same must be true of us. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, faced endless challenges, wars, betrayals, plagues, yet he met them with unwavering composure. He wrote in Meditations that obstacles are not barriers but pathways, that every difficulty is an opportunity to practice virtue. If life presents hardship, it is a chance to cultivate resilience. If life brings loss, it is an invitation to practice detachment. If life delivers failure, it is a lesson in humility. To love your fate is to see everything as a teacher. Most people spend their lives wishing things were different. They resent their past, complain about their present, and fear the future. But what if, Instead of resisting, they embraced every moment with gratitude. What if they saw every setback as a blessing in disguise? This is the essence of Amor Fati, not just accepting life but finding joy in it, no matter the circumstances. To practice Amor Fati is to walk through life with a sense of peace. It is to say, this is my path, and I will walk it with strength. It is to remove the weight of regret and anxiety, replacing it with trust in the unfolding of events. The man who truly loves his fate does not break under pressure. He does not dwell in self-pity. He does not fear what is to come. He simply moves forward, embracing each moment as a gift, knowing that in the end, everything that happens is exactly as it should be. The mind is a powerful force. It shapes our perception of the world and influences every action we take. But what many fail to realize is that our minds are often filled with unchecked chatter, negative thoughts, self-doubt, fear, and anxiety that dictate our behavior and our emotions. This inner dialogue can either empower us or imprison us, depending on how we choose to engage with it. To master your inner dialogue is to take control of your thoughts, and to recognize that you are the one who decides what narrative plays out in your mind. The Stoics understood the importance of mental discipline. They believed that the quality of our thoughts determines the quality of our lives. Epictetus famously taught that we are disturbed not by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens. This powerful idea suggests that events in themselves do not cause our suffering. It is the way we interpret them. If you allow your mind to run unchecked, you will be at the mercy of negative thinking, self-criticism, and fear. However, if you take control of your inner dialogue, you have the power to reshape your reality. The first step in mastering your inner dialogue is to become aware of it. Most people live their lives without paying attention to the constant stream of thoughts running through their minds. But if you take a moment to observe your thoughts, you will find that many of them are negative, judgmental, or filled with doubt. This is normal, but it is also the result of a mind that has not been trained. Recognizing these thoughts is the first step toward changing them. The second step is to challenge these thoughts. If you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," question those beliefs. Are they true? Are they helpful? Often these thoughts are based on past experiences, fear of failure, or comparison to others, none of which are accurate reflections of your true potential. When you challenge these beliefs, you begin to break free from the prison of self-doubt and replace it with a mindset rooted in possibility and growth. The Stoics believed in the power of rational thinking, and they encouraged us to examine our thoughts and beliefs through the lens of reason. For instance, if you find yourself fearing failure, ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen? And how can I prepare for it? This exercise of rational examination allows you to see fear for what it is, an unfounded, exaggerated response to an imagined threat. By questioning your thoughts, you can remove their power and regain control. The third step is to replace negative thoughts with positive, empowering ones. This does not mean simply thinking happy thoughts or ignoring reality, but rather consciously choosing thoughts that align with your values and your goals. For example, if you are facing a difficult challenge, instead of thinking, "I can't handle this," reframe it by saying, "This is an opportunity for me to grow and learn." Instead of focusing on the obstacle, focus on the lesson it offers and the strength it will build within you. Finally, self-talk must be anchored in self-compassion. The Stoics were not harsh, but they were firm. They practiced the art of treating themselves with the same patience and understanding they would offer a friend. When you make a mistake or face a setback, do not berate yourself. Recognize it as part of the journey. Self-compassion does not mean excusing poor behavior or avoiding responsibility, but it means being gentle with yourself while striving for improvement. Mastering your inner dialogue is the key to mastering your life. The way you speak to yourself shapes your actions, influences your emotions, and ultimately determines the course of your future. By cultivating a mind that is focused on growth, self-discipline, and rational thought, you become the architect of your own destiny. Your inner dialogue is yours to command, and when you take charge of it, you take charge of your life. Discipline is the cornerstone of a strong character. It is the trait that turns aspirations into reality, that transforms potential into achievement. Without discipline, even the greatest talents and dreams will falter, like a ship adrift without a rudder. The Stoics understood that true strength lies not in fleeting emotions or external circumstances, but in the ability to control oneself, to act with purpose and consistency, regardless of the challenges faced. Building a fortress of discipline is the act of constructing a life that is resilient, steadfast, and unyielding to distractions. At the heart of discipline is self-control. The Stoics believed that a person who cannot control their impulses, their desires, and their actions is at the mercy of external forces. Without discipline, we are slaves to our immediate desires, whether it's the craving for comfort, the need for validation, or the pursuit of pleasure. These impulses may seem harmless in the moment, but over time they erode our potential. Each moment of indulgence in these distractions weakens our ability to focus on what truly matters. Discipline, on the other hand, gives us the power to choose what serves us and reject what does not. To build a fortress of discipline, we must first establish clear principles and values. Without a clear sense of what we stand for, it is easy to be swayed by the whims of the moment. Discipline is not about rigid rules or blind adherence to external expectations. It is about aligning our actions with our highest values and long-term goals. A person who knows what they value, whether it's personal growth, wisdom, or the pursuit of excellence, can remain unwavering in their commitments. Every decision becomes an opportunity to reinforce that value. By aligning our actions with our principles, discipline becomes a natural outcome, not a forced effort. Routine plays a crucial role in cultivating discipline. The Stoics were known for their strict routines, recognizing that daily habits shape the course of their lives. Routine provides structure and consistency, and in doing so it removes the need for constant decision-making, which can drain willpower. When we commit to a regular schedule, whether it's exercise, study, or self-reflection, we train ourselves to act with purpose and avoid the temptations of procrastination or idleness. This routine doesn't have to be rigid or restrictive, but must be intentional. Even small, consistent actions such as setting aside time each day to read, meditate, or work on a goal create momentum and discipline. Discipline also requires the ability to delay gratification. In a world filled with instant rewards and distractions, resisting the urge for immediate pleasure can be incredibly difficult. But those who build a fortress of discipline understand that true rewards are earned over time. Whether it's the discipline to save money for a future investment, or the discipline to continue working on a project despite setbacks, delayed gratification is a sign of strength. It is the understanding that the pain of temporary sacrifice leads to the satisfaction of long-term accomplishment. This is a mindset that must be cultivated, as it allows us to endure short-term discomfort for greater long-term benefits. Another essential component of discipline is the ability to persist through adversity. It's easy to be disciplined when things are going well, but true discipline reveals itself in moments of challenge and difficulty. Life will test your resolve, and it is during these moments that your fortress is built. The Stoics emphasized the importance of maintaining discipline in the face of obstacles, recognizing that challenges are opportunities for growth. Instead of giving in to frustration or despair, the disciplined person looks at difficulty as a chance to practice perseverance and resilience. Building a fortress of discipline is not about perfection, it is about consistent effort. It's about committing to your goals, adhering to your principles, and rising every time you stumble. Each day is an opportunity to reinforce that discipline, and over time, the fortress you build becomes unshakable. This fortress of discipline doesn't just protect you from external forces, but enables you to create the life you desire, one built on strength, purpose, and unwavering self-control. Memento Mori, remember that you will die, is one of the most profound concepts in Stoic philosophy. It is a reminder of our mortality, urging us to confront the inevitability of death and to live with a sense of urgency, purpose, and clarity. The awareness of our finite existence has the power to awaken us from the complacency of daily life and to inspire action in the pursuit of meaningful goals. It is not a call to despair or a source of fear, but a tool for focusing on what truly matters, so that we might live fully, with intention and integrity. The essence of Memento Mori is simple. Time is limited, and we do not know how much of it we have left. From the moment we are born, our lives are constantly slipping away, one moment at a time. This realization should not induce panic, but rather a sense of clarity. If life is short, then each moment holds immeasurable value. We cannot afford to waste time on trivial matters, idle distractions, or paths that do not align with our highest purpose. When we are confronted with the certainty of our mortality, we are forced to reconsider how we spend our time, what we prioritize, and what we hope to achieve in our brief lives. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reflected on death as a way to bring himself back to the present moment and to remind himself of his true purpose. "You could leave life right now," he wrote. "Let that determine what you do and say and think." This was not a morbid contemplation, but a powerful mental tool. By acknowledging the brevity of life, we come to understand that the time to act is always now. We do not have the luxury of procrastination. Tomorrow is never promised, and the longer we delay, the more we risk never fully realizing our potential. When we live with Memento Mori in mind, we are encouraged to act decisively. We stop putting things off, stop waiting for the perfect moment, and start living according to our values and aspirations. The truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. Life is full of uncertainties, and the pursuit of goals will always face obstacles. But time waits for no one. The longer we delay, the more opportunities we let slip away. To act now, with urgency and purpose, is to honor the gift of life and to make the most of the time we have. Furthermore, Memento Mori encourages us to reflect on our actions and choices, asking whether they truly align with our deepest values. Too often we are swept up in the demands of daily life, chasing after things that ultimately do not matter. We may seek wealth, status, or external validation, believing these things will bring us happiness. But the awareness of our mortality strips away the superficial distractions. It forces us to ask, what truly matters? It brings us back to the essentials: virtue, wisdom, meaningful relationships, and living in harmony with ourselves and the world around us. In the face of death, we realize that the pursuit of external achievements is hollow if it does not align with our inner truth. The awareness of our mortality also cultivates gratitude for the present moment. So often, we are caught in the pursuit of something we do not yet have, whether it's a goal, a material possession, or recognition. But when we truly accept the fleeting nature of life, we begin to appreciate what we already have. Every moment becomes precious, every experience a gift. We learn to savor the small joys of daily life, from a quiet walk in nature to a meaningful conversation with a loved one. Memento Mori also teaches us to release fear and attachment. If we are constantly focused on avoiding death, we live in fear, trying to control outcomes, avoid risk, or preserve what is fleeting. But if we accept that death is inevitable, we are liberated from fear. We can pursue our goals without the constant worry of failure, knowing that the outcome is not in our hands. What matters is the effort, the integrity with which we live, and the choices we make along the way. In the end, Memento Mori is not just a meditation on death, but a call to action in life. It reminds us that time is our most valuable resource, one that cannot be replenished. By remembering our mortality, we are prompted to live with greater clarity, focus, and gratitude. We are reminded that the time to act is now, and that every moment we waste is a moment we will never get back. So live fully, live purposefully, and make the most of the time you have.